Hey everybody, my name's Zack. I'm from Huntley Guitar Lessons, and today I want to talk to you guys about being too hard on yourselves. You know who you are. We want to deal with any frustration or negativity as it pops up in a healthy way. We want to stop comparing ourselves to others so that we can just have more fun with our instrument. I mean, the entire purpose of music is self-expression. If you're focusing in those areas, it's just not going to happen. You want to be yourself, have fun with it, fulfill your goals in a way that makes you sound unique. You sound like you, and you have a special voice. Let's make that happen. So before we get into the main part of this video, there are a couple things that I want to bring up to keep in the back of your mind. Number one, no matter how good you get, there's always a lot to learn. Number two, natural talent doesn't really mean anything. A lot of the best musicians out there started as some of the worst, and some of the ones that were more naturally inclined or talented, gifted, whatever, at the beginning of their musical journey fizzled out because they weren't applying things. They weren't actually putting in the work that is needed. And finally, everybody has a different path. Just because something worked for me does not mean it's going to work the same way for you. People have different learning styles, everyone has different goals, and I mean, just in general, the way we're built physically is different. As a great example of this is Marty Friedman. He's an amazing guitar player, an amazing musician, but he has got one of the dumbest picking techniques I've ever seen in my life, but it works, so who cares? You know, he's able to express himself musically, which, like we said, is the goal. Okay, so let's take a brief look at the negative side effects of having this mentality and comparing yourself to others. One of the biggest things I see is people have a high level of anxiety just to play, or they have a lot of depression about their own playing in general. A lot of times people get confused on what they should be practicing and don't know how to even practice it if they can figure out what to practice. A lot of times people waste tons and tons of time trying to keep up with the people that they admire, and they just ignore the areas that they really should be focusing on in order to reach their own goals. They're trying to keep up with the Joneses rather than having fun with it and expressing themselves. I mean, and as you ruminate or continually think about these things, it's going to impact your playing in some way, and it never is for the good. Okay, so I want to give you guys a few areas that you can focus on to get out of that negative space so you stop comparing yourself to others, you have more fun, and you're just not hard on yourself anymore. So I think the best starting point for this is to focus on gratitude. Focus on what has been going well, where you have seen the improvements. It could be something as simple as in the last hour I learned one more chord. Maybe from the last lesson you learned how to play a scale in a different key. Whatever it is, make a physical list if you have to at the end of every practice session saying, these went well. And if you do have negative thoughts, it can be helpful just to write those down as well, but think about them as things that you can work on or things that you want to work on soon. The thing that goes along with this is reframing or changing your vocabulary entirely. If you're one of those people that sits around all day and just, oh, I can't play it, I suck, I'm the worst, you're going to make that come true. If you keep telling yourself over and over and over again, you're going to believe it. So reframe those, change the wording. You know, if you say, I suck, I can't play this song, and change that to, well, I didn't play it today, and I can't play it yet, but here are the things I can practice to make myself be able to play it. I've never seen anyone not be able to reach a goal as long as they actually put the work in. I think it's also very important to celebrate other people's success and not view their success as your failure. Use someone's success as an inspiration. I hear a lot of times from people when they hear something that they really like, maybe it's an amazing guitar solo. They'll hear the solo and they'll be like, whoop, that's it, I quit. And they'll put their guitar away and they don't want to touch it, right? Use it as inspiration. You might not be able to play that solo yet or write something of that caliber yet, but you will be as long as you put in the work. Another thing that a lot of people forget about is that when you go on YouTube or you see a music video or you watch people live, whatever it is, you are comparing yourself to their highlight reel. You're not seeing the hours and hours and hours they rehearsed, or you're not seeing, you know, what they did with the video editing to make it look like they played it straight through. You don't know what shenanigans are going on in the YouTube video with editing, or even on an album with the mixing and mastering. There's a lot of things that go on to give you that final product, And if you're comparing yourself just plugged directly into an amp to something that's on an album or whatever, you have no idea what they did to make that happen necessarily. And you're just comparing yourself to the best of the best. If you've seen any of my streams recently, especially when I'm working on my new solo album, there's disasters everywhere. I mess up constantly. I forget what I'm playing. I hit my head on the mic. I do all kinds of stupid stuff. But the point is, you don't normally see all those mess ups. And so if you're just comparing yourself to the highlight reel, you're lying to yourself. It's a very inaccurate and untrue representation at times. Going along with that, I think it's also very important, especially if you're someone that is always on social media, detox. Take a social media break, set boundaries with it. If you are constantly on there and just going through those highlight reels, one after another, that can really easily put you in a negative space. And there's also all kinds of science about social media and the negative effects of it. So take a detox, take a break. It's super healthy, and it's been great for a lot of people. It's also very important to learn how to compete with yourself and not compete with others. So things like technical practice. How many notes per minute can you play this arpeggio or this scale or whatever it is? Keep track of those numbers so you have a concrete log of all of your evidence of your improvements or areas that you need to improve on. It's a great way of keeping track of things. Record yourself, film yourself, whatever you can do to get proof of your progress and watch yourself. It's great, and then it reveals where you need to improve. One more thing I need to bring up that's important for me, because I've dealt with this in the past, is you never ever want to listen to someone if they are telling you that their way is the only way to make something happen. This individual I dealt with in the past, I know a bunch of you are going to know who this person is because you dealt with them too, but when they have that mentality and say, you have to take this path because I did, and this is how you have to make this happen, it's total BS. There are multiple ways of making something happen, and even though there are definite suggestions and things that work better for 99.9% of people, whether that's a fingering to use for a certain scale shape, maybe how you're holding your pick or something, there are definitely suggestions, but if someone is telling you this is the only way to do something, they are wrong and you need to avoid them. Like I said, this is a super common thing that pops up for everyone from time to time. But I wanted to give you a few areas to think about where you can start focusing on more of the positive side of things than on the negative stuff that is so much easier to think about. Let me know if there's anything that you want me to elaborate on from this video, if you have any questions or things you want to see in a future video. And obviously, because this was such a short clip, I wasn't able to get into tons of detail. So if you want more information on how to get a practice schedule going in the most efficient way to reach your goals, how to get your mindset in the right spot, send me an email at zack@zacklittle.com. I'll send you a free ebook so you can go through and reevaluate everything that you're working on to be more positive, get better results, and be happier, have more fun, and express yourself better. So I hope you're having a good day. I'll see you next time. Thanks.